Ulonga tabati yada to ye kuma daifa. Ino to ye ko je love vipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Zongo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini sheshe, ton she nile yo. Ojelo jara.
Alafia, peace and power, family. Welcome to another episode of the African Spiritual Experience. I'm your host, Orisha Gbemi, and we are back on this Good Friday night with another Friday Night Live War Report with the brother Bdell 1014 back in the building, family. We're definitely ready to get this party rocking, chilling, man. What's good with you, family? How you doing, brother?
Everything is great, man. The simulation is getting harder.
Listen, look,
it's getting harder, but it's that's because everything is fracking at the same time.
Yeah, it's getting harder. It's crashing. It's the what's they call that thing? The circle of death. When you're waiting for the Wi-Fi to kick in, and it's just spinning the little ball, spinning in circles and all that.
All that little the buffering.
Yeah, that's what's happening to the simulation right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like for real. It's cracking. It's buffering. It's collapsing. It's crashing. All that, man. It's happening right now, right before our very eyes. Yes, sir. Yep. And so real quick before we dive in, man, because we got a lot as always. Shout out to the tribe. Shout out to the new subscribers, the new channel subscribers, new channel members. Shout out to the Patreon family and community. I got a lot that I can't wait to share with y'all. Shout out to everybody who was on the live stream. I think not last night, Wednesday night, that we had to reschedule. So we did like a little tribe community Q&A session. I did get with Wunam. We'll be doing that call tomorrow, family, at 10:30, I believe. And then also I'm going to get with SCG 13 and shout out to Sekhmet. I'm going to get with both of them. We're going to reschedule our shows with both of them because this has been a lot, going on. But without further ado, man, brother Bdell, appreciate you for coming back, man, doing this war report so we can get good people this good, strong, powerful information for the tribe and for the Rice Bowl family in the building.
Facts.
Yes, sir. So there's a lot of places we can start with, man, but because, the topic of the show is the collapse simulation, I want to kind of get into some of these cracks and some of these different types of things that's happening with the simulation, right? So I got a chance to check out the show you did the other day, and powerful show as always, and dropped a lot of jewels and a lot of nuggets as always. So when it comes to this simulation, and we're seeing a lot of the things that we know or we're used to being normal, but there's a lot of things that's cracking and crashing and kind of, buffering, all that. What do you feel like right now on Friday, May 15th, 9:42 Eastern? Where do you feel like the number one thing we should be keeping an eye on in regards to the simulation crashing? And the transformation that we're going through and the shift that we're going through as a planet and as a whole solar system for that matter?
Well, the energetic shift in itself is based on being present because, one thing you got to understand about time is being manipulated by way of time dilation. So the space-time continuum is basically interfacing with the physical world to where the spiritual realm is interfacing with the three-dimensional apparatus to where it basically dissipates these subatomic particles that makes up time. So what you're seeing taking place in real time is that the spiritual world is really just taking over the physical in essence.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about in the book of Revelations in chapter 21, verse 1. New heaven and new earth. A new heaven and a new earth is really just the embodiment of the three-dimensional world collaborating with the fifth dimensional world. That's what it's basically all about.
And when you talk about it collaborating, right? Because I know, and we'll definitely get into that, but I know for a fact there's a lot of different beings at play, right? We have the beings that are able to come in and out of our realm, in and out of the third dimension, that have physical form. We have beings that have spiritual or etheric forms who don't come in physical bodies per se, but they can come and do come in and out of this reality, in and out of this dimension, etc. Where do you feel like the beings who are operating from the fifth dimension, or even those who are like us, who are activated, who have the ability to operate with your mind's eye or to astral project, astral travel, to do different things with the spiritual, where do you feel like those in the fourth dimension play a role in this? Because there's also fourth dimensional beings that play a role in what's going on here in the third, in the fifth transition as well. So where do you see that whole, composition coming together?
Well, the fourth dimensional world in itself is also controlled by the Archonic forces because the demiurge is collaborated with the third dimension, merged in with the fourth dimension. So you still got interdimensional, outer dimensional, extraterrestrial entities that control that whole apparatus in itself. So that's why, you know, mental ascension is key. Mental ascension is based on the fact that you're able to manipulate the space-time continuum because you're able to go to a different space and time with the activation of the Biliary gland. Because the word bara in the cuneiform language means a different space and time. You go to a different space and time to where you manipulate, you know, everything as far as like physical matter in itself. So that's pretty much, you know, when it comes to that, you know, that's pretty much the blueprint for it. You know, it's all based on a certain frequency and a certain mindset.
Now, when you talk about the Biliary gland, that's something that a lot of people don't know of. I know it from being a student of Dr. York, Freedom Master Teacher. How is what is the Biliary gland, and how is it used, and how is it like put into play or put into action?
The Biliary gland is basically interfacing with the olfactory nerve. The olfactory nerve is how you tap into the Christ energy, because it's basically a representation for the blueprint for right knowledge. Right knowledge is how you tap into your righteousness, which is basically the embodiment of the spirit of Melchizedek, which creates geometric energy fields around the body, which is, you know, the Christ energy. So it's another way to basically for your lower self interfacing with your higher self. So it basically becomes a protector at that energy.
So it's almost like a bridge then, per se.
Yep. Okay, pretty much.
I got it. So to me, it's like, I would use the metaphor as like just the way you broke it down. So kind of like how a baby in the womb of the mother is able to feed and receive, you know what I'm saying, nourishment from the what you call it, the umbilical cord, you know what I mean? So it kind of comes like, you know what I'm saying, like almost like a cerebral or a psychological or mental type of like umbilical cord, you know what I'm saying, where you're connected to a higher source, a power of frequency or energy, right?
That's a fact.
That's what's up. Yeah, no, that's dope, man. So we chopped it up about some stuff that's going on earlier, and shout out to the tribe, because you know we had some members that mentioned it to me on Wednesday's show. I wasn't aware of it at the time, and it's funny because I had never heard of this clown before they brought it up on Wednesday, anyways. But the Chud the Builder dude, I guess that's making its rounds around social media and around the internet and all that. Do you want to kind of break down who he is, what his name symbolizes, who he's a representation of, and why, you know, this whole situation matters at this particular time?
Well, the elite, the plutocracy, and the oligarchs, they're using him as a catalyst to propagate Freemasonic magic. Because when you look at the nomenclature title, Chud the Builder, builder in itself is a representation of an architect, because they build and they destroy, which is basically the blueprint for chaos. So he's a chaos agent. Now, when you break down the etymology of the word chud, it means buffoonery, a fool, a troll, basically a person who is willfully ignorant. But it also, there was a movie that came out in 1984 that was called The Chud. The Chud is a representation of cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers. And these underground dwellers, they look just like the Ninja Turtles, but they was more reptilian. Hence, this movie came out in 1984. But the first Ninja Turtles movie came out in like 1989, 1990. So there's some type of esoteric connection to that, because there are, you know, underground beings. Like you got the caverns in LA. When you're talking about the catacombs, they talk about the city of Shambhala, Argartha. So you have interdimensional entities, right? So you would have to be operate from a place of ego to believe that you're the only species on this planet. You get what I'm saying? And then, as I was saying, like when you look at the word chud, when you study, you know, connotative linguistics by way of a digraph is basically like it's like a form of a prefix, but with two letters. So you got the Chitahari is basically the personification of the Chuds, and the Chuds are basically the Draconian reptilians, because the Chuds were basically a representation of what was taking place in that movie that came out in 1984, which is also a mirror flip for 1948, where they threw all the books out because everything was being cultivated by artificial intelligence, which is basically draconian technology.
Yeah. That's deep, man, because I didn't, as a child, I didn't even, I would say even after being introduced to metaphysics and becoming a student of docs and a lot of other master teachers, I never really realized how powerful that Ninja Turtle cartoon and movies was in connection to reptilian beings. But if you think about all the symbolism that goes into that, there's a lot of powerful symbolism in the Ninja Turtles, man. A lot of powerful symbolism.
Yeah, because like the pizza. The pizza, they was talking about the little people.
To Pizzagate.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you have, the turtles. The turtles, they couldn't just flat out use a draconian reptilian, so they just picked the motherfucking turtle. You get what I'm saying? Because there's always, they mix the medicine with the candy. It's mixed with truth and lies at the same time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time when you get into the ontological artifacts and when you get into neoclassical arts or whatever, they switch up the truth with some type of satire to just basically water down the truth. There's underground beings, but they gave you some motherfucking turtles when really it's some draconians. You got to watch the movie Midnight Meat Train. Watch that movie and then watch the movie Chud. Chud means cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers who are draconian reptilian. That's what the archons are. The archons are basically the Nephilim. The Nephilim, when you break down the etymology in ancient Hebrew, it means fallen angel, right? So the Nephilim are the Nephilim, 1/3 of the galaxy that went against the order of Anu. They was casted down and they were draconian. That's why when you go to the Catholic churches, you got gargoyles protecting those churches. Those are draconians. When you look at sleep paralysis, as when we was talking about on the last video we did, sleep paralysis, you got entities. They have a corporeal and a non-corporeal form. They can show up in a shadowy figure when you're in a state of sleep paralysis. That's why when you look up sleep paralysis on Google, it's going to show you a draconian gargoyle entity on your chest.
That's crazy.
That's the physical manifestation of it. But the spiritual manifestation, you're going to see shadowy figures. That's the etheric state. That's them interfacing with the three-dimensional world from the fourth dimension. That's why I said the demiurge is cultivated by the third dimension, merged in with the fourth dimension. There's this book you got to read. 2 books you got to read. I'm always putting people on books. Read this book right here, Cryptozoology A to Z. It talks about the Loch Ness monsters, Sasquatch, draconian reptilians, just different entities around the planet. And get into this book right here, the Urantia. This is my second copy. I had a copy a long time ago, back in like 2013. An old head gave it to me. But get this book right here. It's going to tell you about the inception of creation and how you have interdimensional entities on the planet. So this book basically gives you the esoterics and the metaphysics of the inception of creation, because it goes into the esoteric sciences of the universe and how it was created, and it goes into the seven cycles of creation and things of that nature. So this is, bro, like, you see how thick it is.
Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna tell you, man, that's powerful. And when we were back to the turtles real quick before we go forward, when we talk about like them with the pizza, not only does is that metaphorically, or I should say symbolism for the Pizzagate scandal and the Stein files and all that, but also something that I didn't ever think about, but in looking at it now, which is nuts. Look at how they had the rat in there as Master Splinter, and then now we also had on the agenda to talk about this hantavirus, which was supposedly supposed to come from mice or rats, or rodents, right?
Interesting. See, like I said, there's always an algorithm by way of the symbolism. Ontological artifacts is going to let you know every time, because everything in the multimedia news, everything in the movies, everything on your motherfucking television screen on YouTube, everything is basically hieroglyphics. And if you understand the language, you can basically telegraph what is going to be taking place in the future. That's why you got to be present and sit the fuck still. That's how you manipulate the space-time continuum, because that's the path of the middle way, being present. When you just sit down and stay still, that's how you tap into the neocortex, to where you become the one, the chosen one, just like Neo, right? What did he do? He was being present. That's how he was able to dodge the bullet. He wasn't in a state of fight or flight. When you're not in a state of fight or flight and you're not subjected by way of fear, that's when you tap into your superpower. Your superpower is being present, because that's how you manipulate time.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. And especially, and then another thing too that I want to bring up for those, and I'm pretty sure everybody on this channel, everybody who's on the stream, everybody who will see the upload episode later knows what time it is. But there was something that I saw in the video that you did the other day where I love the fact that you referenced Cradle Matwa, because I'm a big student of Cradle Matwa as well. And Cradle Matwa is, not only is he a contactee, he's also an abductee. He's been abducted before. So the fact that he actually has seen and been in contact with these beings is a real thing. This ain't nothing that we just making up, pulling out our ass, you know what I'm saying, pulling out of a hat, and nothing. Like, this is facts. Like, and he wrote books about this, you know what I mean? And he has multiple interviews online about, you know what I'm saying, his abduction and him being a contactee. So the fact that he broke down some of these beings that are now, you know, really being brought to the surface and brought to the forefront in regards when we're talking about these reptilian type beings, like, he's somebody who has firsthand accord and firsthand account of having an experience with these types of beings. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he has several interviews, but I know one of the ones I saw, I want to say it was David Icke or David Icke or whatever, however you pronounce his name. I think that interview. David Icke, that's one of the main ones that I've seen, but he has several where he talks about that. So how does that correlate into what we're seeing now when we talk about the emergence of this reptilian, you know, these reptilian species of beings that's been kind of hidden or kind of tried to be kept in the darkness for the most part, you know what I'm saying, unless you're a student, somebody who's been studying and reading a lot, you know, and had access to the information. Like, how does this all correlate and tie into what we're seeing right now?
Well, again, they using Chud. Chud is really the builder. The builder in itself, he's using Freemasonic magic, and he's propagating the energy of the Draconians. So Chuds are Draconians. So when you're talking about, I forgot the other part of the question, because it was a multi-layered question.
Pretty much just like the correlation of like what we're seeing with the emergence of reptilian beings and how a lot of people are seeing.
Yeah, Credo Mutwa. Okay.
Yeah,
so
Credo
Mutwa. What I was saying about Credo Mutwa. Credo Mutwa, he was a Zulu shaman. He was the highest priest on the land. He had more spiritual rank than a pope. That's a fact.
Yes.
And he even talks about in the inception of time, you had gray skies, because just like I demonstrated in my video, in the inception of time, there wasn't no sun and the moon. You just had the spiritual sun that basically gave off a vaporization in our atmosphere. It was nothing but gray skies. Now, when you got the firmament, that's when they put the two celestial bodies. When you look at a Masonic tracing board, the stairs goes up the middle. It doesn't go up to the sun. It doesn't go up to the moon. It doesn't go to the pillars of Jack and Boaz. The path of the middle way is the true spiritual sun. So, God of the Bible, who is Satan, he separated the intergalactic waters from the third dimension and created the firmament, according to Genesis, chapter 1, verse 3, I believe. So when God of the Bible, who is Satan, Yahweh, Enlil, Yaldabaoth, Renfran, Moloch, Baal, the same entity, this is the entity that created the firmament, which is basically a form of a spiritual cutoff to where you're not able to have spiritual delineation. You cannot see. This is why you can only see 5% of the electromagnetic spectrum. You cannot see. You've been cut off, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these entities, you know, that Credo Mutwa was talking about, you know, he even goes in talking about, you know, the Chitahari, who was also the Chuds, right? Which is correlated to Chud the Builder, because Chud the Builder, he is basically doing the bidding of the serpent seed that interface with the Nephilim, who are Draconian reptilians, right? So that's another thing, though. A lot of people think that these shapeshifters are just white Canaanites. They're black Canaanites too. Those are the most powerful ones.
Yeah.
They showed you in the movie Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Vampire in Brooklyn. He was basically the embodiment of a black Canaanite. They tell you in the beginning of the movie how the Canaanite was casted out of Egypt. When you're talking about the Hyksos dynasty, when you're talking about the Ptolemies and things of that nature, because that's when they introduce ancient Kemet to cannibalism. Right? And goes all the way back to the Chud. Cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers, Draconian reptilian. And then this system in itself propagates Babylonian blood magic. Everything is a blood sacrifice. When you write your name when you sign over your nature, when you writing a check or you're signing papers for your job or whatever case may be, signing checks, whatever the case may be. Anytime you put your signature, you're signing over your nature. Even though you're writing it in an ink or pen, whatever the case may be, that's still a blood contract. That's a blood sacrifice. Because the inception of the mechanics started with the sacrifice of the blood of Crispus Attucus. So a blood contract is interconnected to the corporation. And that's why they use draconian magic, because draconian magic is draconian law. Draconian law is ecclesiastical law, which is canon laws. So that's why the great majority of everything in the corporate apparatus is based on the energy extraction. Energy extraction by way of the fear, which is connected to religion. Energy extraction by way of technology, which is connected to artificial intelligence. Energy extraction by way of the food, which is connected to genetically modified foods that have parasites that create these nanotechnologies that feeds off your fascia system, which is the electrical energy that cultivates your nervous system.
Yes, sir. Yeah, boy. Hey. Yeah. Look. Listen. So when everything you just said, because you got in the zone, I felt like double dribble back in the day when he's on fire. When you start heating up, started heating up on me. So what you saying all that, because I couldn't help it, my mind be going all over the place. So when you said all that, how does all that tie into the collapse, the transition, the pretty much the end of maritime law? How does maritime law play into everything that you just spoke on?
Well, there is no maritime law. I've been telling people this for the last 3 months. You got when you're talking about the Leviathan is really talking about it's from a economic and a financial standpoint. So maritime law is gaining jurisdiction through the Uniform Commercial Code because it's basically the end of the Crown of England, that is which is controlled by the royals. So that's why Donald Trump, he met up with King Charles, right? Because that was a representation of a transition of power. King Charles is transitioning the wealth to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is giving it back to the matriarchal energies of the indigenous people, who are the autochthonous people, or for the Hebrew Israelites, the Shemitic people of the Bible, the Negro. That's what it's really all about. Now, something tells me that I believe that I think Donald Trump is going to turn his back on Israel in the end.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But some tells me that, because, like I said, because he's the only president that is not related to any president, so he doesn't have an obligation to the monarchy,
to the bloodline.
Yeah, he has no obligation.
Yeah, so and that's why he's always been a wild card. Because that's why I feel like, the battles between the deep state and the Republicans and those who, did what they did to put him in office. All this has been an internal civil war amongst those devils, all along. Because he is an enemy of the deep state. He is an enemy of, certain aspects of who has been in control all this time. When you talk about the Vatican, when you talk about the crown, when you talk, all that, he's not necessarily, he's not in the fold of all the previous ones, like you said, because he doesn't have the bloodline. So now I know you said, and several other people that I've had on here talked about how he's a double agent. How does that play a role? Because to my understanding up until him, I was led to believe that you could only get into the position of being the president and sitting in the chair of the White House if you were a part of that bloodline. So how did he get the opportunity to get into that particular position based off him not being part of that particular bloodline?
Because the serpent seed cannot rule during the time of a sun cycle. That's why I said that Chud the Builder, by way of the law of reciprocity, energy expands and returns to itself. So you can't bring that racist ass agenda or colonizing type of agenda in the sun cycle, because the original owners were getting our shit back in real time, but it's a slow process. A lot of people don't understand what's going on, so they cannot see it. So when you're talking about this system, collapsing and things of that nature, it's certain things you cannot bring into the sun cycle. Just like I said, you can't have a democracy in the sun cycle. It cannot coexist, because a democracy is a moon energy. That's Kratos. That's chronology. That's Yaldabaoth. That's Yahweh. Because everything that's connected to democracy is demonic rulership. Going all the way back to going all the way back to Canaanite culture. So what you're seeing in real time is really like, the fall of the baby lion, which is Babylon.
Yeah.
And what was the other part of the question? What was the other part?
Hell, we done went so far now. I can't even remember. I think it was it had something to do with Trump. I can't remember exactly.
Yes, and Donald Trump, he has to. What he's basically doing is he is restoring the matriarch, and he's doing it. He's a double agent because JFK, he knew about the hantavirus because he laid off the sanitation inspectors days before it happened. And he's with the Trump administration, so the Trump administration is nothing but chaos agents.
Yeah,
which could be a good and a bad thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yes, we want the old deep state. We want all that shit shut down. But Donald Trump, he has his own agenda too. He has his own agenda.
Yeah.
Hence, going all the way back to the underground dwellers, because at the end of the day, the great majority of this planet, we all know that this is a prison planet. And it's controlled by archonic forces. Archons are draconian reptilians. Draconian reptilians are the ones who control the oligarchs, the ones who run, the geopolitical systems, such as, Donald Trump. You got to watch the live action movie, Super Mario Brothers. If you watch that movie, the guy, he looks just like Donald Trump, and he's down there with draconian reptilians. It's a movie that came out in 1994, I believe. It's a real movie. Yeah, you probably gonna find. You gotta have a jailbroken fire stick to find that movie because they hide it. If you just Google live action movie and look up King Koopa, and he looks just like Donald Trump. I got a whole presentation on it.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It's nuts.
And then when you go to Dr. York's publication, Leviathan 666, the beast as the Antichrist. On the cover, so that's how you know Dr. York was tapped into something because he seen something. The guy on the front cover looks just like Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, even like when he talks about the beast and the mark of the beast in 666, he has that diagram where he has the bitch in England who transitioned now, and then Trump, and you know what I'm saying, like he has a picture with all of them, and then he has the lion in the background. You know what I'm saying? He had Melchizedek in one corner. I remember that picture. I'm gonna have to find it so I can share it, but I know exactly what.
That's how I know, because the guy who does my intros for my videos, he helped put together the images for his publications. He created a lot of those illustrations. Shout out to Raymond's aunt.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Looking at the intro, the intro and outro of your show, I can see, especially how he has Doc in there, how he has Noble Drew Ali, like, you know what I'm saying, like the detail. I can see that for sure. That's dope.
And the reason I say that is because Dr. York, he was really particular. He told me, the guy on the phone, Ramus, he told me, he said if it didn't look like how he thought he seen it in his dream or whatever, he'd make you erase it and do it over. He said he wanted everything that he's seen in his dreams and his premonitions, he wanted that in his books. That's why he had those illustrations inside of his books.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing because he was awakening the minds of those like us, you know what I'm saying, who were doing the work, who picked up the baton. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. And I don't feel like you can transmute the energy the way he did if you don't have it being exactly how it was. You know what I mean? Because there's dreams that we have, there's visions, there's different things that we have. And I know for a fact, even me, myself, my first children's book, when I made I didn't make it, but I actually drew the cover of that book. I still got the actual hand drawing that I made because I needed that to be exactly how I envisioned it. Like how how the memory chip, I used to say download, but somebody corrected me on that. So how the memory chip, the ancestral, intelligence gave it to me. I had to recreate it exactly that way. So that way, that was like my blueprint to give to the digital artist to then recreate it the way, kind of like the brother did your intro, because it wouldn't have been the same if I didn't give the exact correlation of what, the ancestors gave me with that vision. So that's powerful, man. And I feel like when you have art like that, they always say art imitates life or life imitates art. So when you have that ability to bring information or to bring visualizations from one realm to another, you definitely want it to be as accurate and as on point as possible.
Facts.
That's what's up. Yeah, boy. So yeah, we in now. We already in. We done served the appetizer. We done got the water and the bread on the tables, man. So
Salute
now it's time.
to Lady Nightwalker.
Yes, sir. Lady Night typed in every time, man, for sure.
Yeah,
All right, we got some dope questions, Tribe, and from the ones from the very beginning of the show all the way to the end, I'm starring, the questions so that way I can bring them up at the end for Q&A because I see some very dope questions. So I'm definitely looking forward to bringing them up at the end before we get up out of here, family. So I'm not forgetting y'all. I'm not bringing the questions up. I'm gonna bring them up at the end once we get through with the presentation. So wrapping up from going from like the hantavirus and all the Chud the Builder and all that stuff. There's a lot of new developments in the entertainment industry. Something that you made, me aware of before we came on air. I saw somewhere online, but I guess Drake dropped like what 2 or 3 albums, or dropped 8 albums or something like that. But I heard there's a lot of albums and a lot of buzz around some of the things that he said and did, not just on the music aspect, but also with the art or the I guess the visualizations that he presented with that. Can you kind of tap into that? Because I didn't see it or hear any of it, so I'm brand new to all of it. So I gotta check it out later.
The reason why he called his album the Iceman is because he's using his album as a catalyst to basically represent the freezing of DNA. Why would you call your album Iceman during the time of the sun cycle, while at the same time we're transitioning into the summer? Because a lot of those inoculations have cryogenic technology, which is also interconnected to the hantavirus, right? Because when you break down the etymology of the word Hanta in the anagram, which is Natha in Sanskrit, is connected to Shiva. Shiva is the outer manifestation of Shiva, and Shiva means 7. So the word Natha in Sanskrit is basically your over self, your higher self, which is basically interfacing with the universe. So the hantavirus is being used as a catalyst to take you away from your God self. That's what it's basically doing. It basically wants to subjugate the DNA, which is why you're seeing at the same time. Look, the aliens that they talking about is already here, and I'm gonna tell you why. You just gotta read the room. Motherfuckers not reading the room. They coming out with the flock cameras. Hey, we're gonna put all the flock cameras in Atlanta in black neighborhoods. Check one. Hantavirus coming out, and they're gonna come out with inoculations to lock down your DNA. Iceman. You see what I'm saying? Everything is based on locking down the frequency, because these aliens that they're speaking of in the Full Disclosure movie coming out on June 12th, they're basically talking about us. Because your higher self is an ultra-terrestrial, because a P47 and a P50 is the present plus 47,000 years plus 50,000 years. That is your higher self interfacing with the past to where you become your present self, which is your Christ self. Your Christ self is your middle way. That's why they call the ultra terrestrials P47s. Your present self has to interface with the higher timelines.
And isn't the so-called president of the United States number 47?
Woo! And then you just had an NBA player for the Brooklyn Nets who passed away.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a twin. Yep. Was it one of the Collins brothers? Yeah, one of the Collins brothers. So there's a lot of symbolism, because we're going into Gemini. Gemini knocking around the corner, boy. Them twins.
The twin pillars. Gemini. Whoa. Donald Trump is a Gemini.
Yes. Allegedly. We're kicking him out of the family, but yeah.
And then Donald Trump is the 47th president, which is connected to the 47 problem of Euclid, that it creates man, woman, and child. Man, woman, and child is resurrection. That's Ophiuchus.
Yeah.
That's the Christ. That's Melchizedek. That's what I'm saying. That's why they came out with the movie Michael. If people just got to read the room, they telling you what it is. They even came out with a movie called Beast with a Canaanite man on the cover of it with blood on his face. They're telling you there's an album.
Well, not just that, but do you remember the movie? Not to cut your wisdom, but do you remember, because this I feel like must tie into it too. But do you remember the movie? God, what was the name? The dude was crazy. He played in X-Men, but he was the main character. But he was like, he had a lot of personalities. I cannot remember the name. Split. I think it was called Split. And like one of his characters, the most dominant character name was the Beast. And that was the one who was like the most powerful and most violent of all the multiple personalities that he had. Did you ever see that movie Split?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, you got to watch that movie, bro. If you watch, I know you're gonna pull all kind of damn symbolism and stuff out of that movie. But yeah, check out that movie Split when you get a moment, man. It's a powerful movie. And when you said about that other movie called Beast, it made me think back to that movie because the most powerful split personality character that he was the Beast. And the Beast, when the Beast came in the room, he came to knock shit over and knock shit down. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a lot, man. There's a lot. And then even with the Atlanta thing, it reminds me of Outcast. And you talk about like the aliens and the ultra terrestrials, we am them. You know what I'm saying? That goes back to Supercell. Like they talking about us.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So my bad. Like I said, I didn't mean to cut the wisdom, but that
no, you good, man. Because that needs to be said.
Yeah, but the symbolism though, I think we was still on the Drake thing and all the different symbolisms with the Iceman and the cryogenics and all the things that that tie into the inoculations that what I'm saying, that we know that they're going to be pumping and pushing as they spread, or as this so-called hunter virus, what I'm saying, makes its debut. All of it plays, it all fits in place.
See, people got to understand that when you live in the three-dimensional world, everything is cultivated by the three states of matter. So you got gases, liquids, and solids. So ice in itself is a solid, but it has to go through a vaporization state. It has to go through a liquid state. So when it goes to a liquid state, that creates the wave that's interfacing with the royal arc. That's why Donald Trump, he said a storm is coming. Who was good friends with Drake? French Montana and Max B, the wave. Max B is 47 years old. Max B, his name is Charlie Wingate, Charlie Kirk. So everything, like I said, everything is symbolism, but people are just not reading the room. Then French Montana, he represents the false concept of matriarchy because he comes from the dirty Moors. He's a Moor. He's a Moroccan. You see what I'm saying? So everything is really a play because, like I said, the music industry has to mimic the energy of what's taking place in the real timeline. The movie industry has to mimic the energy of what's taking place that's connected to the timeline. That's why some people be like, oh, this is a prophecy. No, they telling you in real time. You're just not paying attention.
Yeah. And it's nuts too, because I just thought about it when you're talking about all, like with Drake and the Ice, whatever you call the album and all that. And then you talk about the Greenland, and then you talk about Iceland, the ice walls, you know what I'm saying, melting. You know what I mean? So it's and then and then we got this agency that's making headlines all over the place. They're called ICE.
Yes, Iceman. And then another thing that could also, Drake's album could be a back signification to the Islamic regime, because a lot of the ICE workers, they said that they've been working at these airports and they look like Middle Eastern people. So that could be the activation of the sleeper cells, which could be in translation as a reverse of shutting down your DNA as they activate these terrorist attacks. Because when you have a terrorist attack, you in a state of fight or flight, that locks down your DNA. When you in a chaotic state and you in a state of pandemonium, that locks down DNA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's tricking your body to go into the future.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to be present, stay calm. That's why balance is the key.
Yeah.
Balance, the laws of Maya. That's what it's all about.
And then that brings me back to something that this wasn't part of the script, outline, but it brings me back to when we talk about the chemtrails, all the different, pollutions that they're putting in the sky, that they're putting in the water, like all these things are literally set out there for us to stay in this trap, in this, limited state of mind, limited state of spirit, limited state of soul, like mind, body, and soul, like to be limited. So i.e. the poisons in the food, the poisons in the water, the poisons in the air, all that's to keep us trapped, right? To not allow us to gain access to the solar flares, to the neutrinos, to, all the different things that are sent to activate us, to elevate us, to get us to the next level. They're doing everything in their power to keep us away from that activation. But it's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's already too late. You can't stop the creator. Like, you can't stop, like what's destined to be.
Another thing about the full disclosure thing, they even showed you in the full disclosure alien files, they showed you Christ. A lot see, a lot of people missing the message, because the Christ is actually the true spiritual son. The true spiritual son is the sigil of Melchizedek, which is the North Star Polaris, which is the galactic center. That's why I said, when you look at a Masonic tracing board, the stairs don't go to the sun, it doesn't go to the moon, it goes straight up the middle, because the true spiritual son operates on fractions of light, angles of light, angels of light, that spits down at 90-degree angles, and it gives off, you know, illumination to the sun and the moon at the same time within inside the firmament. That creates the whole Freemasonic symbol right there. The whole world, the whole universe in itself is based on the symbolism of Freemasonry. But the G is basically gnosis. That's you.
Yeah.
You're the true knowledge of the planet, because the legs of a Masonic square and a compass, that represents the black woman's legs, because the real gnosis is the black woman's womb that creates prokaryotic cells, which is the first organism in the universe. That's why I said the true Vatican is the black woman.
Oh yeah, they know that, and that's why you see the Pope perpetrate, giving reverence to the Black Madonna. You know what I mean? The Black, Black Madonna and Child. Like, that's facts, and you can find that out. Well, unless they took it down, but you can find that on the internet, on YouTube, for sure. Yeah, they look, they know who we are. Some of us don't know who we are. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it boils down to.
This is the time, you know how this is the time, because people think shit is a game. You should be practicing. You should be practicing your telepathic abilities right now.
Yeah.
Especially because, like I said, the sun is a electromagnetic energy of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? It has a form of magnetism. So this is what I do when I'm on the porch sometimes. I sit on the porch and I think of 2 or 3 colors: blue, red, gold, whatever the case might be. That is basically telling the cells in my body, the trillions of cells and the octillion cells in my body, that, hey, there is going to be a red, blue, or gold car coming down the street here. And if I see it, like I said, that's basically my words and my vibration interfacing with that form of manifestation, to where that's how you manipulate physical matter. You're training your brain to do that.
Yeah, that's dope. It's powerful, and you know, and it's funny that you say that, because there's a lot of different exercises you can do. Another good one is to count backwards, like to start from like 100 and count backwards. You know what I'm saying? Because you focus on the concentration of, you know what I'm saying, the numbers. So you literally, it's almost like working out. I would consider that to be almost like how, you know, you work out with your body using weights to lift weights and all that. But when you do different brain activities like that, we're working out the mind. You know what I'm saying? The mind's eye, working out that first eye. So yeah, it's very powerful.
I mean, I got my own stuff that I do. You know, some people might like think it's funny or whatever, but like I have like a head weight, and I wear it like it's like weights on my head, and I bob my head like Mike Tyson used to wear.
That's a boxing training move. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because
your neck and your head.
Yeah, because you know what it does? It creates these electrical signals that makes it activates those neural synapses. The neural synapses in itself is how it's like the electrical energy that activates the Akashic records. So a lot of times it creates that pressure, because when you have a lot of pressure on your head, that creates diamonds, and those diamonds in itself is the geometric energy fields around the head, which is piezoelectrical crystals, because around the pineal gland is a reservoir of water, and that water has to interface with those crystals, and that crystals creates a period, a tetrahedron of energy, which is the trilateral connection of the pituitary gland, hypothalamus gland, and the pineal gland, which is a tachyon.
Wait a minute now. Look, you tapping into my eye. Say, I ain't you the first person I ever heard use that word, bro. Like tachyon, like, bro. I don't even want to say it. That name, that word is so powerful to me. I got it in blood. I just put it that way. But that literally is the name of one of the characters in my children's book. One of the main characters, the teacher's name is Tachyon. And can you share with people like some of the significance of that word and what it has the ability to do?
It's really the embodiment of electromagnetism. It's a multi-layered thing, because it has a centrifugal and centrifugal force. And it's kind of like it creates like a dualistic trine. So it's basically the unification of feminine and masculine energy. So you can correlate that with the corpus callosum, where you have the activation of neuron fibers, which makes the brain tighter. That's why I keep telling people, you cannot be holy until you use your whole motherfucking brain, literally.
Bruh.
That's why Lucy.
I never heard nobody else use that word. That's dope. I'm still blown. But it also has the ability to travel faster than the speed of light.
Yep. Yeah, tachyon energy is the thought. Thought is the only thing that's faster than the speed of light, because light travels at 186,000 miles per square feet. So the only thing that's faster than the speed of light is your motherfucking thoughts, which is your Christ, because your thoughts has to be a bridge to your higher self.
Yeah, that's powerful, because now you got me thinking about, I'm pretty sure you got this book. Yeah, I think we spoke about it before, but that now you got me thinking about the 7 Hermetic principles in the Kybalion. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kybalion in the book of Thoth or Tahuti or Hermes Trismegistus, whichever name you want to call them. But a lot of that plays a role when you talk about the mentalism and, you know what I'm saying, all the different aspects of the Kybalion and those principles. That's powerful. That's very powerful. Okay. All right. Well, so because let me see, we got a little bit more time left. So let's get into this this Goldstein or Goldstein character. Because I'm seeing him resurfacing a lot, and I'm seeing a lot of things coming out about him, and you know, all the different I feel like things that he's attached to in regards to the grand scheme of things. One of those hidden hands, per se. You know what I mean? That a lot of people don't know a lot about, or maybe never heard about, but it's very influential in a lot of the chaos and the fuckery that's going on.
Well, when it comes to James Goldstein, who he is to the music industry, to the NBA, is the same thing as Michelle Lamy is to the music industry, because every industry got a warlocks. You got Michelle Lamy, music industry. You got James Goldstein, NBA or the sports or whatever, and then you have Marina
Abramovich.
Marina,
however you say her name, Marina Abramovich or something like that, right?
Yeah, Abramovich. Yep. And she does a lot of spirit cooking.
Yep.
So a lot of that stuff, every industry is controlled by warlocks. So that's why, you know, a lot of times, a lot of people, how you ever heard the ad lib that that the Migos used to say, "Mama, Mama" in their songs? Mama, the mama they talking about is Michelle Lamy. All these coaches, they have to show veneration to their handlers. So James Goldstein, like I said, you know, and then when you break down the etymology of his word, of his name, Goldstein, and Stein means stone. And that stone is connected to the Canaanite. So that means that he's a part of the serpent seed. James Goldstein. Like put it like this: Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, Goldstein, Larry Silverstein. These are the same families that's connected to the cursed seed of Labana, the cursed seed of Labana of the sons of Benelli, the Amorite, the Tamahu, and ancient Kemetic spirituality. These are basically European Albion hybrids, right? And some of them are Draconian Reptilian shapeshifters. So that's why when you look at the face of James Goldstein, you can see that he's dematerializing, because he's not able to create those immortalized cell lines with the adrenochrome.
Yeah.
And he also has an underground club in LA.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that on your episode. Let me jump into this, because I was going to bring it up earlier, but I didn't want to cut your wisdom, because you were going in about the Drake thing and the whole ice thing and all that stuff. But I have to bring it up now, because when you were breaking down the definitions of the Goldstein name, you mentioned about the connection to being stone, like how, you know what I'm saying? So Rick Ross got a new album that's about to drop, and it's called Set in Stone. And the cover, he's like, he made out of ice. So is it like, what, you know what I'm saying? Where does that fall into this puzzle that we're decoding and deciphering right now?
Because Freemasonry is used as a catalyst to lock down the Philosopher's Stone, which is the pineal gland. Because, like I said, the word, when I was telling you about the real Epstein files, The word Eb comes from the word Epstein comes from the word Eberstein, which is a form of a stone, which is a red ruby. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff is really just like, ancient, magic that they're using.
Yeah.
So something being set in stone, ice, stone, they're trying to freeze something, they're trying to lock down something. That's the algorithm. So what it basically means is they're trying to shut down DNA. That's what it seems like. And because then you got the flock cameras, like I said, they're using biometric artificial intelligence technology to scan your frequency, because a lot of these EMF wave frequencies in itself is all it's doing is sucking up microscopic waves of energy from your body, neurons. You don't just have neurons in your heart, in your brain, and in your intestines. You got neurons all over your body. Pure intelligence. You're literally a walking and talking CERN portal. Because the carbon body in itself contains quarks and leptons. And those quark and leptons is how you tap into the neuroendocrine transducer. You can manipulate time by being present.
Yeah. That's facts. Bruh, yeah, this is epic. This is an epic one right here. I mean, they all be dope, but this one is epic. This one is epic because I'm just thinking about how it's flowing, and we got some powerful questions lined up too when we get to that segment of the show, man. We got some very powerful because when we talk about this, the ice thing and the freezing and the shutting down, all that. There's a few shows that I'm going to make it my point to do some solo shows where I got to do presentations, because the surveillance, although it's already at, I feel like, all-time high, they actually taking this thing a whole nother level, family. So anybody who has a Ford truck or a Ford vehicle that's like 2024, 2025 or newer, be careful, because they're at the point right now where they're surveilling with the damn rearview mirrors. They're surveilling with the cameras in the vehicles, and they're using biometrics to be able to see if they feel like you're fit to drive. So that means if some shit pop off or a hurricane or seriously a tornado or whatever, they can use the vehicle's cameras to say, you don't look like you're fit to drive, and shut the car down where you can't drive. Like, it won't go in park. You can't turn it. Like, so it's at the point now. And I remember, I think it was you that was talking about getting cars that are older than like 80, 86 or 85 or something like that, because of them having the ability to shut down the vehicles. But they're going deeper than that, man. They literally are running biometric like tests to see who you are and if you got warrants, all kind of crazy shit what they doing, you know what I'm saying, like to use the cars and the vehicles to also not just surveil, but to pretty much, I feel like, to turn you in or snitch on you or do whatever to get you into, you know what I'm saying, the prison complex or industrial complex.
Well, I know they do have I forgot what it's called. I think I forgot what the name of it was called.
With some
it was telematic? It's a new intelligence that it's called Anthropic.
Oh, okay. That's one of the AI companies.
Yeah. So what they doing is that's why, Anthropic is connected to all forms of social media. It's connected to your car. It's connected to the data centers or whatever, because Anthropic is being used as an anchor to upload everything you do, everything you think, into the data centers. That's why they got the data centers. They building them up in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, they ain't just
which is the Egypt.
Yeah,
because they're trying to intercept intelligence. That's what this technology is all about. It's being used to intercept intelligence. They trying to put a patent on telepathy.
Yep. Wow. Are you serious?
They want to steal your thoughts.
Well, they already doing it.
Because your thoughts that travel on 0-point energy fields, when it interfaces with the sun during the time of the sun cycle, that's magnetism. So they don't want you to manifest, because when you're able to have instant manifestation, that's when you become God. That's what Lucy was doing.
Yeah.
When she was getting in the car, when she got in the car and drove off, and she didn't want no car and nobody get next to her, she was able to manipulate her reality just based on the frequency of her mind. That's why she was able to stop time, and then she was scrolling through the binary code, which is in cuneiform language. The cuneiform is the language of the Anunnaki, which is an extraterrestrial language. That is the language of the universe.
Yeah. That's powerful. It's so dope too, man, because when you think about it, and I'm pretty sure damn near probably, if not everybody on here has seen that movie. What I loved about it, all the symbolism and all the metaphorical, you know what I'm saying, like symbolism that they had in there, in the very end of it, when you talk about she was like God, or you know, had the God element or God factor, in the very end of it, what did she transform into? Black what?
Black matter, dark matter. She became Ophiuchus. She became Jesus walking on water. That's what Ophiuchus is. That is the 13th zodiac wheel. That's why my next book that I'm dropping, it is based on a timeline from 2030 to 2043. Because from 2030 to 2043 is the matriarchal 13-year cycle. In that 13-year cycle, that's when you're going to have the intrinsic activation of solar cycle 25 to where you have these neutrinos break open the firmament in 2043. Because that's when you have the open vortex. The open vortex happens in 10-year increments. And before 2043, you got 2033, and that's where you have the conjunction of Uranus and Gemini ending, which also represents the Christ in 2033.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, we cooking with hot fish grease tonight, family. Oh man, yeah. Okay, so we know that there was a very, I would say, very VPK, preschool, kindergarten, you know, release of these damn UFO files. We know that was capped, you know, and a bunch of bullshit. But we also, I know for sure, that there's a lot more of real, you know, releasing of real footage and files. In particular, the Miami Mall incident. I'm seeing a lot more footage resurface from that Miami Mall incident, where we're seeing these beings who came through these portals, who, you know what I'm saying, were multidimensional beings who were walking through that mall, which caused 300 and something plus cop cars to arrive on the scene, which they tried to downplay and make it seem like it was just some kids or teens fighting or whatever. We know ain't nowhere in hell 300-400 cop cars going to, you know, converge down on a mall for some children or some young people fighting. So the fact that they made everybody scrub their phones and whatever type of devices before leaving that facility is telling you that there was a lot more that went down in that mall than some doggone teenagers in a brawl. You feel me? So it's like a whole lot more footage that's being leaked out now, because before there was literally almost nothing that was actually seen on the internet about this particular event. But now I'm seeing several different, I had to see a link to a couple that I saw, where people have footage that they're releasing of the extraterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials that came through some of these portals in the Miami Mall incident. So you can't stop the truth from getting out, man. It's gonna come out.
Again, get this book right here, Cryptozoology. It's not about this book right here, Cryptozoology. Get this book right here. It's not about if aliens is real. I don't know if they real or not. It's not about that. The government has the technology to create aliens. So they're real.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just makes logical sense. I mean, if I had that much resources and if I had that much access to do what the fuck I was able to do, I would create a species too. That's, you know what I'm saying? Being able to have, like, you know, that's fun. Like, I mean, why not? Why not create, you know, even if these entities are not real, why not create them?
You know, it reminds me of the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau. I'm sure you've seen that. That's what it reminds me of. And speaking of which, you probably seen it, but I was just watching yesterday a dope interview with David Wilcox, and I cannot remember the dude's name, but the dude was, I guess, some sort of former military or personnel. Matter of fact, I think he was like some sort of like surgeon or engineer or something that did a lot of work for the military complex, like some of those black projects or whatever. And they was going in with some of the things that, you know what I mean, like they've been doing. And so it's a very powerful interview, and I'm actually shocked that it's still up. I'm gonna find it in my watch history and send you a link to it, see if you saw it. And if you didn't see it, it got some jewels in it. It got a lot of jewels in it, actually, because they went in with a lot of the different. Matter of fact, they even spoke about those eggs. And I remember, you know, me, you, and Ryan was talking about those eggs on one of the shows we did last year. You know what I'm saying? They broke down what some of those eggs was about too. So it was a dope interview, man. I'm gonna definitely have to send you a link to that. But shout out to Emperor. I will. Emperor True said the twin brother, he's talking about the Collins brothers, was also the first LBGTQ to come out in the NBA. I remember that. So which one passed away? Was it the LBGTQ one that passed away, or was the twin?
I think it was the LGBT one.
Wow.
Yeah.
In addition, he says,
they trying to push that transhumanistic. They trying to push like death culture harder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because the Canaanite, they're dying more than they being born.
That's facts.
So in order to win the race, they got to wipe out humanity in a form of depopulation with eugenics tactics. That's what asymmetrical biochemical warfare is all about. Hence, you got the Hunter virus.
Yeah. They're definitely working on it. They're trying. It ain't gonna happen, but they're trying. And back to the data centers, though. That's something that I don't know how many people, and I mentioned this the other day too. I got to do some shows on that because I'm not sure how many people are paying attention to how severe these things are. But when you talk about these data centers, those things are soaking up and using up an astronomical amount of not just electricity and power, but of water, to the point where they're on the verge of damn near making some of the Great Lakes and rivers go, run dry because of how much water that they're utilizing for these goddamn data centers. So, and when you think about it, they got one. I just saw a report where they're building one in Utah that I want to say is supposed to be like 63 or 67 miles of, like long, a data center. That's like twice the size of most major cities in America, for those who are, to put into perspective. So if you think about, I could say a data center for like 1 mile would literally use probably 2, 3, if not 10 times as much water as a regular city would use with human population. So now if you think about how much water that one data center would use, we're talking about like catastrophic amounts of water.
Yep.
So there's a lot that they're trying to do, man. And now that brings me back. You remember that cartoon Captain Planet?
Yes.
We're living in the real time.
Facts. Yeah.
Real time.
And he was a representation of ether. He collaborated with all the elements. He was the ether.
Yep.
Earth, air, water, fire. And then
Captain Planet.
Because See, that's what I'm saying.
That's
the four
crazy.
basic elements is the 4 horsemen, because the 4 elements is how you manifest ether. When you manifest the ether, that manipulates reality. Captain Planet, he came up and cleaned up the motherfucking planet. Like, he got rid of it. He drained the swamp. Whatever Donald Trump is trying to do, that's what the fuck Captain Planet did. He was a true hero. Matter of fact, Captain Planet was the Messiah.
Say it again. Say it again for the people.
Captain Planet was the Messiah. He was the messianic figure, if you really think about it. But going back to the UFO, the full disclosure. When you look at that entity that they showed in the UFO files, that is the Sigil of Melchizedek. That is Ophiuchus. That is the Christ. The true spiritual son is you. It interfaces with all of us.
Yeah.
But that's why Iceman got to come out. That's why Hantavirus got to be out here. That's why Chud the Builder got to be out here. That's why these sleeper cells and the ice agents got to be out here. All this is a representation of lockdown DNA. All of it is basically symbolism. People ain't seeing it, because that's why I said they got to tell you, because that's why they came out with the movie Michael. Michael is the warrior version of Melchizedek. Melchizedek is the higher self.
Yeah.
Michael is the 3-dimensional self.
Yeah. And shout out to, I cannot remember who it was, but shout out to somebody in the tribe, man, because there was a tribe member. I don't know if it was our last show or another show that I did when that movie came up, but somebody was saying that in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, Mike Jackson, MJ, actually had a picture of him, I believe, depicted as Michael, as the archangel of Michael, if I'm not mistaken. So if you on the call, tribe, like, please share that, share what that was about if you're on this call. Yeah, somebody definitely mentioned it. I can't remember if it was on the call that we did or if it was on another call that I did, but somebody in that movie came up. Somebody said that in the movie, there's a part where, and you saw it a couple times, so if you see it again, look for it.
I don't remember that part, but I
remember them saying it. Yeah, I remember it. They were saying in the movie, he had a picture of himself, and it probably was on the call that you and I did when we were talking about it, because I know we did a call right after you had seen it twice, and you had just did your video about it prior to that. And so somebody in the tribe, I remember reading in the comments, said that Michael Jackson had a picture of him in like the image or in the form of the archangel of Michael. I'm like, yo, that's dope. And I'm not surprised either, because I know he was tapped in, all the way tapped in.
He was, because Michael Jackson was the true personification of alchemy. He transmuted his insecurities and he turned them into gold, literally.
Yeah.
Like, he had the vitiligo on his hand. He put the glitter glove on. Alchemy. Yeah. Now it's a status symbol. It's an energy signature. That's what alchemy is. That's what becoming God is. It's basically you putting diamonds over your wounds.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and for those who have shout out to the author, I believe his name is Paulo Coelho, the one that wrote the book The Alchemist. Like they talk about that in the book The Alchemist. And then in another movie that's powerful that reminds me is a lot of alchemy and is the movie The Immortals. Did you ever see that movie, The Immortals?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Oh man, that book had a lot of deep symbolism for alchemy, and it had a lot of deep symbolism for like the Orishas and the Netchers as well, because especially the Orishas, because I remember the main character Theseus, his superpower and his weapon was the bow. And when I think about the Orishas, I'm thinking about Oshosi. Oshosi is the deity who his weapon is the bow, and when he shoots the bow, he don't miss. Period. Like you're gonna get hit with that bow once he let that motherfucker go. So it's a lot of powerful symbolism in that movie, man. A lot of powerful symbolism.
And then another thing to add to Michael, the L was what made him an Elohim. So like I said, but what is an L? An L is actually an L, a 90-degree angle. You get what I'm saying? Because a 90-degree angle is resurrection, because that's a Trinity principle, because it has 3 points, right? And those 3 points activates the endocrine system. Those are the 3 keys. The 3 keys that activates the gold key, to take the hat off, the hat of Dagon, and the silver key. Sun, moon, pineal gland.
Man, listen. Oh man, it's crazy. You talking about time and how fast it's going, man. There's still several topics that I want to hit. I don't think we're gonna have time. I want to definitely get in some Q&A with the tribe real quick before we get up out of here.
We be spinning the block again soon.
Oh yeah, already. You already know. And shout out to let me pull this comment up. Brother, here you go. Don Coolio, yes sir, I did get a chance to check out that interview. It was powerful. I appreciate you for sharing it with me, family. And I probably have to I had to send that one to you too, Bdell, because we might have to make a deep dive on that and a couple of the other videos I'm gonna send you, because it's a lot, man. It's a lot that's coming to the forefront that I feel like
can you please send me? I'm gonna watch that literally, like as soon as I'm done. I'm about to finish my food and watch that. So
I'm gonna send it to you. I got like 3 or 4 matter of fact, I'm gonna write that on my notes now. I got about 3 or 4 clips I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna make a note right now so you can check them out. We can build on them on the next one. But
send me that.
Yes sir, it's powerful. So okay, tribe, my apologies everybody if I didn't get to all your comments, because we moving fast and time's moving fast, and I'm trying to keep up with y'all, keep up with the conversation as well. But I definitely
What?
I gotta bring this up. I don't know who this is. Travis Daniels said, African spiritual experience, is it okay to date a big girl? Yes. Why would you not?
Now we're gonna get it. We're gonna get deep into the esoterics and the metaphysics of that, because there is some metaphysics. Because now,
I don't know if they're trying to be funny or not, but ladies, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, this is serious. No,
I'm talking to the women though. I'm just saying, like, I'm talking to the women. Like, I don't know. I hope Travis ain't trying to be funny, but me personally, I don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take.
No, we need to be real though. So
yeah, I'm being real. I don't discriminate.
No, I'm gonna answer the question.
Gotcha.
So when you're talking about, so we're gonna get into the metaphysics of big women, because there's nothing wrong with dating a BBW, because a lot of them, they have a lot of curvature, and the curvature is what contains the orgone energy.
Oh, yeah.
That's why when you're around a BBW size woman, or you're around a woman who got like real big breasts, you feel protected.
Yes.
I mean, like, what I'm saying? Like when I was single, like when I was single and stuff like that, I used to love being around, big breast women, because I felt like I was protected. I was like, she gonna take up for me.
And listen, look. I prefer bigger than tiny. I tell you, that's just my personal preference. That's just me. Like I said, I ain't knocking the judge in the small, tiny women either. I love all y'all.
But because of the woman's, when you look at her anatomy, she's actually the original protector, because the original name for the woman was Psi, and a Psi is a protector. So a woman innately, when you're talking about the Amazonians and Wonder Woman, where that concept came from, because like I said, the most intrinsic being on this planet, the first being, was a woman. Earth is a feminine planet.
That's fact.
There's a reason why they call it Father Time and Earth, Mother Nature, because Father Time is what stagnates Mother Nature. Father Time is the firmament.
Facts.
That's what it is. Father Time is Enlil putting the motherfucking firmament over nature. Yeah. That's basically him putting, nature in the zoo. That's basically what he did. Mm-hmm. God of the Bible put nature in the motherfucking zoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's real. And shout out to the brother for sharing that question, man. It had me laughing at first, but I thought it was random, but I had to bring it up. But
man, shout out to the big women, man, because like I said, man, you're gonna get that protected energy. You're gonna get a home cooked meal.
Man, listen. I got nothing but love for the big women, buddy. Big BBWs, curvy, fluffy, whatever you want to call it. I like that meat, buddy. Yes, sir. That's what it say. Yeah, I'm all for it. Put me in the game, coach. But nah.
Whole house smelling like cornbread.
Man, listen. I look. I love all women. I don't discriminate. So let me just be clear. I ain't discriminating on the slims, the slim thicks, you know what I'm saying, the curvy, none of it. I love all y'all. So I'm gonna be clear about that. But the voluptuous women, don't get it twisted. I love y'all too, for sure. So yeah, man. But okay, so especially with this being a big mama house, yes, sir. It's a big mama house, but we got to love the big mamas, and that's facts. But shout out to Star Nayar 7785 says so many people hoping for change, not understanding hope is nothing more than delayed disappointment. Stop looking for a spiritual savior and save yourself. Yeah, that's a powerful comment. I thought it was a question, but it was a comment I saw earlier, so I wanted to start at because it was a powerful comment. And then your inspiration 777 says, when we stop watching dissecting their movie and start living out our own movie. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired. Well, family, we're doing that now. We definitely do that here in these Ashe streets. Bdell, you want to share anything? You got an answer or follow up for that question or comment?
Yeah, the movie been stopped watched, because like I said, the 6,000 years is up. They time been up. We're no longer in the moon cycle no more. That's why they got to put chaos agents out. That's why so much going on at one time right now.
Yeah,
their movie is over and they mad.
Yeah.
That's just like a movie trying to have extended credits. They trying to they want everybody to stay in the motherfucking theater so bad. The movie's over with now. It's over.
Wrap. Yeah. Okay. D-Tech Whitehead said, excuse me, Rahuba Maldakians are I think the question was, are Maldakians under the Bermuda Triangle, and are those the ones that Epstein was feeding in the in peace to the land, or peace in the land? Is truly wonderful. What do you think about
that? Because the Maldakians are basically a hybrid version of, it's like a gray reptilian. It's like a gray and a reptilian mixed together. So a lot of Draconian reptilians, you do have bases in the Bermuda Triangle. And that's where Epstein Island was, by the way. It was in that area. And he had like this boat, and I guess whenever they used to do the rituals and stuff, and they get rid of the people, they just feed them. Because watch the movie Midnight Meat Train. Watch that. Because that's what I said. Because these entities, like I said, in order to maintain power or have when you want to obtain a certain knowledge, it's an energy exchange. And it's the same thing as like drug dealing. Hey, I got these 5 little people. Hey, I want to know the in order for, all right, let's just put it like it. This is what they do with the rituals. Because with Aleister Crowley, according to his book, and he when he channeled an entity called AWAS. He channeled an entity called AWAS. So a lot of times, like I said, the stuff that you do is an energy exchange. So sometimes you have to sacrifice an animal. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a person or a little person. So if you want certain knowledge, if you want like anything, you got to shed some blood. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like you front me. It's like you front me, and I got to pay you back.
Yeah, you gotta pay back the plug, man, or else the plug gonna come, you know what I'm saying, and take the payback. So I mean,
the archives is the plug.
Yeah, that's facts. Big facts, man.
They're the malevolent plug. They're the malevolent plug of the universe.
Yes, sir. And I know we got to get up out of here in a minute, so I'm gonna share a couple more questions real quick, bro, because I know you got to get out of here in a minute. So, shout out to this is the second one, but he had a couple of dope comments and questions. So I'm gonna bring this. So, shout out to Star Nayar 7785. If spiritual people have been planning on what to do if when the system crashes since the early 1900s, should we also make a plan on what to do if this or when it doesn't crash? To only plan one way seems foolish. What's your take on that?
No, I agree with him. You should plan both ways.
Yeah.
Playing both
Oh, yeah.
ways.
Yeah. And shout out to Professor Kaba. He talks about having 100. It's either 100 or 150 year plan. You know what I mean? Because think about where we are now, and I love that. And he's mentioned it multiple times. But he's like, you know, we want to. Okay, so where we are right now, Friday, May 15th, 2026. Where will we be Friday, May 15th, 2126? Like, let's time travel now. You know what I'm saying? Let's use this ancestral intelligence to time travel to create a plan so we're prepared for 2021, 26. You know what I mean? So, and that's
another thing is really just to find that balance. Like you also would want to. You don't want to like invest. Don't put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to crypto, because there is going to be a digital system, and you want to thrive from the system. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Just kind of invest in it a little bit here and there, and then invest in survival in case some shit go down. If some shit go down, like I said, you ain't gonna be asked out. You can tap into the crypto that you invested. If nothing goes down, if something goes down, you still got the water, you got the ammunition, you got all that on the back end. That's balance right there. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to use your dark and your light side, not just spiritually, but materially. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it from a material standpoint.
That's facts. And speaking of which, it's so dope how divine the timing be, man. Because shout out to Maurice Miller, 2142 says, I'm just wondering what's up with the water now being traded on the Dow Jones. You know anything about that?
No, it's my first time hearing about it.
Me too. I haven't heard about that either, but I'm gonna definitely appreciate the question in the comment, Maurice. I'm gonna definitely look into that, and then by the time we come back with the next war report, I definitely look forward to having a lot more insight, and data and feedback on it. But great question, family. So shout out to Tiger Fang 8092. Anybody check Chud the Builder's gematria? Did you do that? I think you did that, didn't you?
No, I didn't do his gematria code.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, but you definitely have damn good breakdown on them though. So
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. And then shout out to at Stay Woke 95. I don't think that's Donald Trump. I believe that all politicians and celebrities are hybrid reptilians. Not just that. I agree with you. Not just hybrids of reptilians or full reptilian, but also cyborgs, clones. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of different. And
I would say Donald Trump. Donald Trump is he's a white hat, so he works with the tall whites. The tall whites is a faction of the Pleiadians of Ashtar Command.
And they worked with the Thule Society, right? With Blavatsky was it something?
Yeah, they had because you ever seen a Raelianism symbol?
It sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
That's a Pleiadian symbol. Raelianism is a UFO religion.
I'm pretty sure
that is a physical manifestation of Pleiadian religion in the three-dimensional world. And that's why the Nazi regime, the Third Reich, they had a lot of Pleiadian technology. In fact, they got a lot of their as far as like being able to clone and stuff, they got their technology from Pleiadians.
And some of the UFO technology too, like some of the crafts and some of the weaponry that they had access to that they were using, right?
Yeah, because the Nazis they had UFOs. Yeah. And in fact, not Donald Trump, but Hitler, he was making super soldiers.
And
he made super soldiers to compete in the Olympics against Jesse Owens, and he beat him. And Jesse Owens is the real Superman. That's what he called him. That's why he said, "Oh, America stole America's true Jews. They the true Jews of the Bible."
Facts.
That's why he said that.
He
know it. There's another movie called Iron Sky, and in the movie Iron Sky, it shows you how Hitler never died. He actually went inside Hollow Earth.
Yep, I've heard that too. Yeah,
and he's half Draconian.
Man, I can't wait till you check out these links I send you, bro. Because I'm telling you, when you watch these, when we come back for next week's War Report, we're gonna go in on this because there's a lot. I'm telling you, there's a lot of deep information that goes way deeper than what we went tonight on some of the topics that we hit tonight. And I'm like, yo, it was dope when I was watching. So I'm gonna definitely send that to you. So I got one more because I know we literally marking up the exit stage left time, man. So shout out to Jay McDonald and Sacktown. I know you from Sacktown in the building. Shout out to Jay McDonald and Sacktown. Is there going to be another shutdown, or how are they going to make people get these bullshit? Excuse my vocabulary, but this BS inoculations.
They're gonna activate FEMA, and when you activate FEMA, that's when Donald Trump he has qualified immunity through the continuity of government. So that means that he could put the military on people who don't get the hantavirus draconian juice to protect themselves from it.
Can you say that one more time for the people in the back?
So the hantavirus draconian juice is basically like a serum to basically protect you from it. I don't want to say the word because I don't want to get your channel, you know. Yeah. So I call it the draconian juice. So the what happens is like, you know, that's what they want to do. They just want to make you, you know, get these draconian juice and to make you interface with artificial intelligence in the smart cities. They want the smart cities built up. The first ones built up in LA. So that's how you know LA is going to face the first. Not, I wouldn't even say LA. I would say just California in itself is going to face a big ecological humanitarian crisis in the future. But you gotta destroy that geographical area in order to build up the smart cities. And so I could say before 2028, you're gonna see another. It has to happen because it has to happen. How you gonna? Because it's not gonna be like, hey everybody, we going to the smart cities now. It's not gonna work like that. They gotta quarantine you. They gotta quarantine you. They gotta create some type of pestilence to trick you into believing that, hey, we got to go in quarantine and we got to live in 15-minute cities now. In zones like some Hunger Games type shit.
Yeah. They got a lot. They got a lot, man.
They gotta roll it out. They gotta roll it out. They gotta roll it out with Project Bluebeam. They gotta roll it out with the war. They gotta roll it out.
All that.
They gotta roll it out with an economic crash.
Yeah. And we're watching it happen in real time, man. So, look, I know you got to roll. I don't know if you got time for one more question, or you want to roll.
Yeah, I got time.
All right, so one more quick one because I know, we had a certain time we had to be out of here. So, shout out to First Sync. Hitler was melanated, and then Maurice Miller had another good question. Did they kill the real Black Hitler? Swarth.
I mean, more than likely they probably did, but like I said, just because somebody's Black, I mean, for that they, on your side, they look like us, but they not us. He could be the cursed seed of Labana. He could be the serpent seed. You never know. There's many different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Or like I said, he said that the Negroes of America are the true Jews. So I mean, the only way to really know is to be in the vicinity of that man, and so. Right now, it's just really just based on speculation. So, yeah.
One last one I got. Stardust says, "How would we know someone is a clone? Are there distinct attributes we should know?" I would question you to look at Gucci Mane, or so-called Gucci Mane.
Best way you see a clone is you can look at it from that way, but a clone is not only subjected to the physical construct of a person. A person can be cloned mentally,
spiritually.
Now, so if the best way to tell if a person is a clone is that they don't have original, independent thoughts. When you come across a person who is trying to be politically correct, who is trying to people please, looking for validation, you're dealing with an NPC, and the NPC is a computer generated spirit, a computer generated spirit that carries out the afflictions of our world. Like hypothetically speaking, like a clone is a person. Yeah, I support Black Lives Matter. I support LGBT. Yeah, I voted. Yeah, let's go out to McDonald's. That's a clone. And It's a person who literally doesn't have the ability to think for themselves. Because that's what artificial intelligence is. Artificial intelligence is a clone of the chosen ones.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence wants to be me.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about Kevin Hart? Do you believe he's a clone?
What do you do?
Kevin Hart, do you believe he's a clone? Because when he died in that, well, my bad. I misspoke. When he had that accident, there's a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theories or people who are deep into metaphysics and, you know, this whole, what all's going on, that says he actually died in that car accident. And that's why he was off the scene for so long. And then when he came back, kind of like the Jamie Foxx thing, when he came back and that wasn't really him. That was a clone.
I don't think see they could, but I don't think he's that important. Kevin Hart is not funny and he's a nobody to me. I would feel like I'd be like, hey, what up, bro? Like, but other than that, Kevin Hart, he is not. He doesn't have something to where he would need to be cloned. Like I could see them wanting to clone LeBron James. I could see them wanting to clone Michael Jackson. I could see them wanting to clone Kobe, Michael Jordan, Bruce Lee.
What about Gucci Mane?
No,
I don't believe that's the real Gucci.
I don't see a significance in it.
I don't either, but I do not believe that's the real Gucci, man. That just doesn't sit well with me. Everything's changed unless he has some major reconstructive facial surgery. Like
I really think he actually was really trying to better himself, man. And sometimes, man, like I just read energy and I can tell by the energy of his woman, and that's what I'm really like getting at. I don't say that, delineation is based on the fact that his woman, she's like really like she put in the work to try to help him. And sometimes your woman can be the catalyst for you to better yourself so much to the point where it'd be like, man, that ain't the same nigga.
Right.
You just got a good woman. That's
women and
sometimes
children.
sometimes
women
like
can definitely do that.
I mean, it's kind of abnormal in our generation now, but a lot of times, like I said, there are good women, divine feminine energies out here who has the ability to resurrect a man who's stuck in a dark place.
Yeah. I don't know. It just for me, it just don't. I don't know. It don't sit. But
one thing, when he did the verses with Jeezy, that lets you know right there.
I didn't see it.
The beef wasn't over. Basically,
I had to watch.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna let you get up out of here, man. I know you got to go. Very last one. Stardust says, "Do you think martial law will happen?"
Yeah, martial law will happen. Like I said, Donald Trump, he has qualified immunity through the continuity of government, so he can activate martial law. And when he activates martial law, he can activate FEMA in the military to take over police. So that happens when you have some type of terrorist attack on American soil, or when you're trying to capture a virus, when you're trying to dwindle down the numbers. Excuse me.
All right. Well, man, listen, it was an epic conversation, epic war report, man, for sure. This was one for the books, as they always are, but this one definitely, I feel like it was right on time, man. The conversation, the topics, the flow, the contributions from the tribe and the Rice Bowl family in the chat, man, it was powerful. So before we get out of here,
get this book.
And then don't forget to plug your hold on, let me share the cash apps and let the family know where to find you, like how to support you, how to get access to your books, how to support your channel, your work, all that good stuff before we get up out of here.
Here's my book right here. It's on Amazon. Bdell Rice Bay. Second book of the Chosen. Bestseller for 3 months. Get this book right here, please. Please get this book. You got to read it. And actually take your time to read it or whatever. This is one of those books where you got to go into the chapters because every book is not meant to be read. So you got to use it as a reference point. Books like this, you got to use them as a reference. And also you can find me on YouTube at Bdell1014, Instagram Bdell1014, and my Cash App is $Bdell Rice Bay. Bdell Rice. Right there, yeah.
Yes, sir. That was dope, man. I definitely appreciate it, bro. I'm gonna get you them links tonight for sure. And then I'll definitely build with you probably for sure. You already know I'll probably build with you over the weekend, man, so we can set it up for next week. Because we got a big week coming next week, family.
I heard that.
We got a big one. Yes, sir. Yeah, man, we got a big one. So I want to make sure we get a war report in, you know what I'm saying, in the process, because yeah, we got a big one coming. So shout out to the tribe, shout out to the Rice Clan and the Rice Bowls, and to brother Bdell 1014, man. Shout out to everybody who showed love and support as always. I definitely appreciate all y'all. I'll be back with another mini marathon because we'll be back in this thing tomorrow night, I believe at 10:30. Shout out to Wunam, Nikki Love, be back for the show from Wednesday night. And then I'm gonna get with the Sacktown twins from out of Sacktown. I am SG13 and Miss Mariana, segment my eye. We're gonna reschedule ours so we can get that one going. And then I'm gonna share a little bit about what we got coming up next week, family. I was able to lock it in today, so it is official. We'll be back next Friday with an epic blockbuster show, man, with a huge guest and a new premiere to a very powerful, prolific guest on the channel, man. So keep in touch with us for sure. I'm gonna definitely build with you on that topic too, man, before we bring in the guest of honor for next week, man. So I'm gonna definitely be sharing that with y'all tribe as I get everything set up and ready to go. But we got some epic shows coming up this week, man. So I appreciate all the love and support, family. I appreciate the patience for everybody who's been rocking with me with the slowdown. You know, I had a lot of transformations and transitions that I was doing off air behind the scenes that I had to get buttoned up. But for the most part, we buttoned up Buttercup and ready to get this thing cracking for the second half of 2026. So Brother Bdell's another honor and a pleasure, man. Very powerful transmission episode in these Ashe streets. You got anything you want to leave the family with before we get up out of here, fam?
While you're in the midst of these chaos agents like Chud the Builder, just try to stay balanced. Try to have that stoic vibration. So just don't let your emotional energy create a chronic imbalance. So don't crash out. Don't crash out because, like I said, the more we get through this Great Awakening period, the more they're going to put out these chaos agents. So, like I said, just be balanced and stay in your own energy and stay in your lane.
Yeah, boy. All right, man. I definitely appreciate you, bro. So yeah, we definitely shout out to Wunam in the building and chat too. She said she's gonna jump on the book too, man. I appreciate you, Wunam. And so yeah, we got some dope shows coming, family. So like once again, I'm gonna send you those links, bro, and I'll definitely touch base with you so we can set up next week's report, especially after you get a chance to check out those shows I'm gonna send you.
Okay, and that sounds good to me, brother. And salute to everybody, and thanks for everybody who's going to purchase the book tonight. Salute to you guys.
Yes, sir. Already, man. Appreciate y'all, tribe. Appreciate the love and support. So yeah, brother, I definitely holler at you, man. We're gonna get up out of this thing. It's another epic episode. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ntẹ́ ní takisa ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.